Hey everyone, and welcome to I guess the first episode of Grinning Griffin Presents. I am Justin McGlinchey. I am co-creator of Grinning Griffin with my guest today, our DM Jacob.
Hello.
So, for this first episode, I guess, or interview, I'm going to be interviewing you. Basically talking about the world. And then after this, we will probably start sending out our minus one shots or negative one shots, which are you and each individual person doing basically backstory of where they are and how they come into the parties. But first things first, Jacob, how long have you been playing D&D slash DMing?
Well, that's DMing. I've only been doing it for the past about year and a half. Playing, I'm gonna say probably closer to 6 or 7 years. I had a couple of times I attempted to before. I remember uh, really wanting to in high school, but uh, kind of like other games like Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. Nobody in my circle knew how to play, so it never happened. And I tried a couple years later, but I had no idea what I was doing to the point where all of my players were like, what's going on here? This is not D&D. But it really started in earnest a few years ago. There's a couple bumps along the road, but it's
Yeah.
just something that I've become very much obsessed with.
Yes, I understand and know what you mean by bumps in the road there.
Mm.
Yeah, you had a real bad DM there for a few years.
For about maybe 3 to 6 months. I don't really think we played for a year in that game.
Oh, I was making reference to myself.
Oh no, you were great. No.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Anyway, well, talking about D&D, what do you find? What is your favorite thing, basically, about D&D?
it depends on the step. I really like just thinking about it. Honestly, just as a DM, I'm just always thinking about and planning stuff. Which I know is weird because I never write anything down, but just kind of making plans in my head of like, okay, this is a story beat I want to hit here, story beat I want to hit here. Um, just kind of, I really enjoy pushing my limits and stuff like that. Creating good stories, creating not, good characters. One thing that I've found lately is I really like trying to kind of limit myself, like for example, playing an artificer where all of my magic I need to explain as some form of technology, or um, making a uh, college of swords bard that his backstory is that he used to be a paladin. So kind of making that work with having a lot of smites, having most of his spells do physical things and stuff like that, and not so much magic there. I really like being creative and building new and interesting things, and honestly just doing weird stuff.
Yes, creativity is probably one of the most key things you can have as a DM.
Yeah.
So that is good. What are you hoping to get out of the game?
Fame and fortune. No. No.
We're a few steps away from that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. No, my big kind of expectations and hopes for stuff is I want to have people kind of play in my world. Because with this world that I've created, this realm and all of the layers that kind of go above it, um, this is something that is actually based in the world that my book that I've been writing for like the past 3 years. That I'm nearly finished my first written draft of, because I write it 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
um, it takes place in that world, so it feels very um intimate there. And my big hope is that I have people who enjoy that world and people who want to know more about it, want to know the lore, want to explore it, and just kind of have fun, both players, hopefully listeners, and stuff like that. I really want to kind of build that up there so that people are interested in something that I've done.
Yeah.
Which when I say it like that makes me sound a little self-centered about it, but it's basically I made this. I made this. Do you like this? I made this.
Yes. Okay. What was your greatest fail as a DM? And what is one of your proudest moments as a DM?
um there's a couple of things that kind of come up for fail, I guess. Um, and I've never really kind of looked at them as a fail because it just kind of helped me learn what to do and what not to do. Kind of comes down to overpowered magic items. Was definitely an issue that I had in the last campaign.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, giving like page long descriptions of what stuff can do so people can do crazy stuff is cool, but
Hard to
doesn't get
balance
you.
around.
It wasn't even just that it was hard to balance around. It was more or less nobody was using them anyways. They might use one of like one item or one feature or something like that, and yeah, a lot of them are like really cool and awesome concepts, but especially for new players, you give them like 3 pages of stuff for what they're like for what items do. They're not gonna read it. Um, not that I should expect them to. Which was definitely something that I've learned and something that's going to be kind of enacted here. Um, Other than that, um, not really as like a DM, more as like a player. Um, I'm just kind of getting too invested at times, or not even just too invested, but frustrated. Whether that be with a toxic player at the table or um, battling favoritism and stuff like that. Not letting it get under your skin is definitely something that's very important to learn as a DM. Um, yeah, I think that's what it really kind of comes down to there. There's a lot of or not a lot of, but there's a couple of gray days I would say I have over my D&D career going back to like when I first started playing. Definitely stuff that I have done that I've regretted, but when it comes down to it, the bright spots are what make it such a great game. And especially as time goes on, you remember the bright spots. You don't really remember what you did wrong or how you made a character wrong, or if you're playing with the wrong rules, or if you forgot a really important part, or people were picking on you, so like that. You forget that. You grow past that, but you remember the times. I know exactly what story I would tell at this point with
Yep.
the bag of devouring,
Yeah.
and that was basically what brought me to really love D&D. That was probably my first pure hit of D&D.
Of straight unadulterated D&D.
Straight out of like this
Very
is
unadulterated.
yeah, this isn't like, this is still with this isn't answering the question of like my proudest moment. I'll get to that in a moment. But one of my first proud moments, I think this is definitely a quick story that I want to kind of get out there quick, if that's okay.
Yeah, why not?
um, first ever campaign that I had ever been in. You were there, and a couple of other friends. But I know we had a monk in our party that would pick everything up.
Yes, a kleptomaniac monk.
Well, no, not even just kleptomaniacs. Like, that's a nice boulder. I'm going to put that boulder in my back. And I know that the DM was getting tired of keeping track of what was in his bag, so
Yep.
Had a character come up and sell him a bag of holding. So he would put all his stuff in the bag of holding. And I remember our ranger trying to jump into the bag of holding to see if it would hold them. For us to be told that it wasn't a bag of holding, it was a bag of devouring, and no saves, no cap. Her character was dead. And understandably, that's like, it's one of those things where you're like, shit, I didn't know you were going to do that, right?
Yeah, like you weren't supposed to do that. This was just supposed to eat his items.
Yeah.
Like, this is bad because rules is written, the character is dead.
Yeah, like I'm not putting anybody on blast here.
No.
But the ranger started to cry, which is very understandable. Character deaths, when they're not planned like that, they can be very emotional.
Yes.
I've been there, especially when you really like the character. So I decided, my little drow rogue I did not know how to play, I gave a big rousing speech to everyone, saying like there must be a way for us to go in there, and bring them back. And we decided we would do that, and the DM's like, well, okay, I'll think of something, and had us fight a bone. It was a bone devil, wasn't it?
Yes, and we were also level 5 at the time.
Yeah, we were level 5. We were so underpowered for that.
It was supposed to be something that, what would be in the bag of devouring that would be devouring everything in sight and could easily kill a single person.
Yeah, this was supposed, like, this. It was definitely set up as like a
deadly encounter.
Well, yeah, like this could end our campaign type thing.
Yeah.
And just like remembering that fight.
Yep.
Remembering
that was Snick.
Yes, Snick. And the fastball special and stuff like that. Just that rallying moment. That was my the first hit of what D&D could be. There's definitely parts about that campaign that I did not like, but
understandable.
Yeah, again, not putting anybody on blast. It's, people learn and
Yeah.
people change. But to ask to answer the second part, to finally get to the second part of the question there, my proudest moment of being a DM. Um, there's definitely a couple. So anytime Motley will be like, "Fuck you, Jacob." Um, yeah, that's always a good time. Um, but probably one of the best sessions I ever had, and it's the one that went over by the longest. I think most of our games would end around 10, and I think this ended at like what, 11:30.
11 or 11:30. Yes. I
Yeah,
remember it being like an hour long, an hour late.
yeah. Um, but the finale game, because not a lot of games get to end. Um,
Very few games end at like the climax. There's very few times that you'll have a level 20 campaign. We didn't have a level 20 campaign. I
no,
think we ended at level 8, but
eight or nine, yeah.
something like that. But like I also understand that because uh the game that I was running for the longest time that I kind of had to take a break from because I was just kind of getting burnt out from it. What was we finished an arc. It was a decent ending point, but then we wanted to play a little bit more. So
Mhm.
I conceived of arcs 2 and 3, and we're still not level 20,
Yeah,
like in
I
that
mean we're
campaign.
close.
Yeah, you're level 16 or
17,
17, something like that.
17, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, which I mean, high level plays just fun. Um, but yeah, that kind of going in and eventually being like, yeah, I know a lot of people, like some of our players aren't going to be able to play for much longer, and we're already kind of talking about, um, you know, doing this campaign or these campaigns with the two sides there, and just kind of hitting a semi-natural point where we could end, especially having that campaign set in the Shivnary Isles, which is a rather small uh, part of the entire continent. It's very small, and I was able to squeeze
A
like 20
year.
sessions out of those islands.
Yeah, it took us a year to do it. I know.
Yeah.
I think it was more than 20 sessions. It basically, yeah, I think it was 10 months. It was around, I want to say January of 2020 that we started it.
No, we started in like September.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. So it's, yeah, something else. I can't remember exactly. I can probably go and find that, but
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely played for almost exactly a year. I think it was like we ended up playing for like 13, 14 months.
Yeah.
Um, and there's definitely long breaks in there of like months at a time
Mhm.
sometimes, because work. But
Yeah.
just kind of getting to a point where we could naturally end the story and having everyone kind of have an emotional moment, and just kind of the stuff that happened in that session, your character sacrificing themselves to seal a rift uh to some pocket dimension that held like the greatest evils the entire realm has ever seen, including this, necromancer lich,
Yeah.
wannabe god guy.
The big bad that we were able to lock in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like them using the one wish spell they had, which I still think is hilarious because they're like, we need to word it
Oh
super
my.
specifically,
Yeah.
and then they worded it super specifically
but left out any of my items that I had with me,
yeah,
so I came back
you showed
naked.
up naked.
Yeah.
But also,
I mean, it was a fun thing, and I was able to make a callback to a previous joke from like months ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
I still when we were talking, like we were talking about that for like weeks after.
Yeah.
And I know everybody like uh a Motley and you are still kind of both very much connected to your characters
Yeah.
and each other's characters.
Yes. The
Um,
not what is the female version of a bromance? Like the we we both played female characters and we were basically sisters to each other. I think I was supposed to be the big sister,
and they were roommates.
and they were roommates. Uh,
But yeah, just I, even just talking about like the fact that we went into such detail where um Nick the Warlock there
mm,
um was like, okay, um mind, body, and soul. And when you came back, because you went in a vampire and you came
yeah,
back out
as
not a
a
vampire
non-damp.
because you got your soul back,
Yeah,
which was hilarious when that was brought
I
up.
yeah, I didn't expect it, and then once I was like reading because I also have DM'd and was trying to think of like loopholes that they could have. I couldn't like I wasn't going to tell them that there were loopholes if I could find any because my character wouldn't be there.
Mm.
But uh I was looking at it and going, Soul, wait a second. Technically, does that mean that I'm no longer a Dampier?
Yeah, but yeah, just the emotions uh
That
that night
session
brought up.
brought,
Yeah,
oh, and like there was a fight that lasted an hour ish.
yeah,
And that's not even like that is exciting, but it was not even the highest like intensity of that session because it was very much we have to get there, we have to do this thing, we have to stop them from achieving godhood basically,
yeah.
and then get out, and we're all like we all need to stick together, we all need to uh work as a team, and then once once wrenches were thrown into our plan, it's like, okay, now what do we do? And so that's when my character did what she did, and then someone's character Motley, no shade, but almost didn't leave a crumbling temple because I was not out yet. Which I think is like you definitely should be proud for that. Like I am very happy about what happened, like about how everything came about, and also that my character didn't die. Uh, also, thank you for that. But um, it was probably one of my favorite sessions. My other favorite session is probably the party that we went to. That one is almost underrated for me. If you remember the Turtle Island party.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
the party of the Duke. Yeah.
Yeah. That one I think was the first time uh like even though I had a session that kind of was dedicated towards my backstory, that session was the first time that I actually saw potential for my character to grow.
Mhm.
And you like it wasn't even a session that was about my specific character. It was just something that kind of came naturally. And uh like I think it was at that point that we all started like growing together.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I'm hoping is going to happen again. Unfortunately, I don't get to play with Motley, but hopefully if there's like crossover or something, hint
Mhm,
hint, nudge nudge, uh we can do something.
mhm. And that's something that I'm very excited for, with the um, with the two groups that we have. There's a real good mix of people that have played together before and people who haven't played together before and people who might have never played at all.
Yeah.
Um, including, like the Galterra team having, you know, uh, Krista, who we've been playing, you know,
With
with for like the past 5 years at
yeah,
least.
something like that. uh,
Brett, who
who was
started,
a recent addition, quote unquote recent, been playing for like a year and a half, 2 years, something
yeah,
like that.
and I'm very excited because Brett is just he is such an awesome person to play alongside and to DM for because he is so excited to play, and I really love that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Um, we've got Josh, who probably has more experience in D&D than probably all of us combined when it gets to
Maybe.
this point. Like he like has been playing for a while, and I'm really excited to kind of see where um, we go there. Um, you, uh, we've got Karen, who's one of my best friends, but I also think it's going to be great that we have both twins.
Yes. Karen and Krista are twins.
Yeah, but having them both the same side of the campaign, that is great. Um, and in the Galterra, we have Drew,
uh, Iridan, not Galterra.
Iridan. Yeah, sorry, like been
No
a long
worries.
day. We've got Drew, um, who's been a friend of mine for a while and very easygoing with where we're going for the story and stuff like that. And he's very much really down to help, and I'm so excited. Cam, who I think has played like a couple of times before, but I see so much promise in Cam, especially since I I kind of feel like I can kind of corrupt Cam a little
Oh,
bit
God. Don't do
with with
that.
with 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 uh with my style of DMing. You know, I'm really hoping that I can make them, or not make them, but help them really love the game. Um,
The worst thing you can do to corrupt a player is make them care.
yeah, I'm really hoping that my goal is to make them really enjoy the game, so that they become obsessed with it like the rest of us. Um,
Yeah.
um, and then the last two people, because I'm making sure I cover everybody. Um, Kayla letting me go to some dark places. And I think so far I have to put a content warning on her one shot, just because of how not even gut wrenching it can be, but just how well acted it is
Huh.
and how kind of dark it can get.
I'm
And just having that kind of camaraderie is just like so good. I
I,
like.
I am very intrigued and I want to listen to it now. Am I allowed to listen to it? Because it's not.
You can. Oh yeah,
All right, awesome.
only if you edit it. Ha!
Uh, all right.
And then of course, Motley, who um started playing is the reason that I started DMing pretty much in the first place. Because I wanted to start a game, and I asked them. They're like, "Yeah, no, I would love to play. I've been really wanting to play D&D, but nobody wants to have like a uh, you know, they want to do this or want to do that, and nobody wants to DM." I'm like, "Oh, I'll DM for you." And they're like, "Yes," and uh, just so excited about
Yeah.
their characters, and yeah, these are all some of my so these have all been some of my favorite times DMing. Um, I've just really enjoyed these negative one shots, and I personally feel like I've been doing some of my best work in them, and I'm just so excited that everybody's so receptive to everything, and I can't wait to see where we're gonna
I am a little biased. I think mine is pretty good.
go.
Anyway, yes. Okay, so that kind of ran a long question,
Yeah,
but
sorry about that. That's what happens.
yeah. Well, when we start talking and get on a tangent, that can happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I guess next question would be, do you have any side quest styles you're kind of hoping to develop for the different parties, like chases, interrogations, things like that? Like any peek behind the screen or peek into the veil, as it were?
The only kind of peak I have is that Iridan and Galterra are going to be two very different campaigns, two kind of different styles, kind of coming to the same point at times, not entirely dissimilar. I would almost kind of compare it to having like siblings, where you can definitely tell that the two of them are connected, but they're not. They're going to be different enough, I guess is the way to put it. Past that, I can't really get into too many details of it, but yeah, I am probably going to end up surprising myself which one's going to be darker. So we'll see which goes. But can't really say too much. I have some real good stuff planned, real big stuff. Um, Making it fit into my world without causing too much of an issue of what's already written.
Yeah.
But I'm not really too worried about that. It's gonna have some different themes that are gonna be addressed, but yeah. Um,
Do you want to go over any of those themes? Just kind of overarching themes for either one, the other, or both campaigns?
First and foremost, just because it's probably one of my favorite tropes, but found family is really something that I want to try to hopefully engage. Hopefully, I can have everybody be friends and hopefully kind of build those kinds of relationships. Um, but past that, I can't get into too much without spoiling things.
Okay. Yep. I won't. I won't push.
um,
I also want to be surprised.
yeah. Um, there's some things I've already kind of touched on, like human colonialism and stuff like that is a big force behind why I wanted to start writing in this world to begin with. So that's probably going to be apparent as well.
Yeah.
And kind of the effects of that, generations down the line. So, other than that, I'm not going to get too much into it.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess next question. So speaking of your world, what was your inspiration, I guess, for making this world, making a game, and also making two parts of uh, basically two campaigns in your world running kind of simultaneously?
Yeah, it's going to be a big question there. So I'll start with the last part, and I'll kind of go backwards there because why not? Um, so the splitting of the group there, um, I can very much be a people pleaser sometimes, and I knew I wanted to play with a lot of people, and I knew that would be uh, an amount of people that would not be able to fit at one table and have us play kind of balanced encounters and stuff like that. Um, I was planning on having, 10 plus people, not including, possible guests and stuff like that in the future. Currently it's at 9. Um, but yeah, it was definitely something that kind of came out of necessity. Um, just kind of one of those ideas that popped in my head. It was like, hey, why don't I do two at the same time? Do one group one week, do one group the next week, and kind of tell two very different stories. And then that kind of became, well, yeah, we'll have one group start in Iridan, kind of not exactly picking up, but having echoes of the campaign that I did before in the Shivernary Isles, and have another group start in the capital, which is the Galtair group, and have them kind of experience a a different side of the realm, because as stuff started really kind of coming together and I started making like the mythos and the plans on even where like certain groups of people or nations were on this continent, it very quickly became um I want to do a lot of things that haven't really been done in fiction. Basically, when you hear some, internet trolls on the, on Facebook say, well, if you don't like it, write your own. That's pretty much what I decided to do. Um, so I wanted to make something that very much married my love of fantasy storytelling with not heavy-handed messaging, but subtle tones of acceptance and unity and kind of working together. I want it to be a place where basically any person from any walk of life, regardless of who they are able to see themselves in this world. So that kind of came when I was trying to find people that wanted to play and stuff like that. I wanted to try to have a kind of wide variety of uh, people and characters and stories that we can kind of all tell at once. And then that eventually became uh, the negative one shots, which I don't know how I came up with that idea. I don't know where that came from.
I know that you and I were talking about maybe doing a backstory,
Mhm.
or even like having backstory elements, like our backstories being put in throughout the campaign if there was a session where it was kind of focused on a character,
Yeah,
sort of like a flashback almost when you see in TV shows.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Um,
I think from there it kind of,
Spawned this, yeah.
yeah, it kind of evolved, and I really really liked doing this, especially going into recording and stuff like that. I think it's really added quite a bit, because basically every player has got an entire session basically focused on just them, because it's just me and them playing, and I think that really helps with investment. Um, but mechanically wise, or mechanical wise, sorry. One of the things that I really like about doing the negative one shots is that I can set up storylines, I can set up story beats and stuff like that. And what one person knows, the next person doesn't. They might not even know that they're intertwined.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is that's very fair. And if a story beat gets picked up in the campaign, maybe more than one person recognizes it from their backstory and
Mhm.
goes, "Oh no," or
Yeah.
"Oh yay."
Yeah. No, I had a lot of fun kind of planting some seeds and stuff like that. Um, some subversion, and yeah, there's definitely definitely some stuff that I can't wait to see pay off, whether that be in the short term or long term.
Yeah, I guess this is being recorded after all of our negative one shots. And so from experience, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened. Uh, actually, speaking of the
Mhm.
campaigns, would you like to talk about, I guess, since you mentioned Iriden first, would you like to start talking about Iriden? And then maybe editing later on, we'll put in uh, the intro that you and I kind of made together.
Okay. Yeah. So kind of just before we show or kind of put in the clip trailer, whatever we want to call it. Um, Iridan was a site of a battle in the War of Brilliance, which is this really big war that happened after the humans, which in this realm are called Terrans, um, landed on, or not, well, not from the air, but from sea, landed on the continent of Crescentia, and basically started, you know, settling or colonizing. They didn't really care that there's already people there, and it started a very big war. But one battle in particular, the Battle of Iridan Bay, was particularly bad. Not a whole lot's known about the actual night of the battle in particular, but legend says that it was so bad that the bay is permanently dyed red. So there's the water that comes up on the shore is all red. The boats that were at that battle mostly line the seafloor there, with only the crow's nest kind of sticking above, which makes it really hard for fishing vessels or ships, frigates, really anything to get in. So it's a very poor, very misty, very kind of, in some aspects, kind of creepy um, place, just kind of really downtrodden. And yeah, the basic setup for the entirety of that campaign is that the mayor Valendor is trying to gather a group of people that might be able to help bring, goods or people or whatever they can bring back to this small village to kind of save it from really starvation. We're going to start our scene today in Uridan. This is Drew, the Vessel's Motley,
Sabbath,
Cam,
little old Helios,
and Kayla.
Sarah's.
And now we're back from the intro and theme to, I guess, talk about the music itself. You and I kind of went back and forth on this for a little while. I think like a month, but not working the entire time on it. But we were starting with it was my first time making music, really.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, these themes I've created from, I guess, from a music making app. I don't know, but the theme music, I guess, for Iridan, I always, when I pictured Iridan, it being so kind of far away from everyone, kind of ambient nothingness in the air. I was thinking having like a sparse musicianship. So there's only like a piano, there's a cello being plucked for the notes, and then it kind of starts to build up from there, kind of in the theme of the group wanting to get more people in, and the more people they get, the more, I guess, more flushed out the accompaniment, I guess, is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like how it fits the tone of it there. Not quite creepy, but almost kind of foreboding, which I think is really cool. I can definitely imagine, hearing that in the middle of a dark forest, being played amongst the trees and just kind of hearing it on the wind. It would definitely give me the creeps.
Yes, definitely. Speaking of creeps, let's move on to let's move on to the campaign that I'm in.
the Galterra. Yeah, no, that one's real smooth, my dude.
You're welcome. I am the master of transitions, and that's why this is my one and only time hosting.
Congratulations, and also you're fired.
Yeah. Anyway, you can take it from here.
Okay. So yeah, with Galterra, it's definitely a much different time. So as I kind of pointed towards the world of Brilliance before, Galterra is the capital city of the Terran, which is human empire. It used to be a city beforehand, but the humans kind of pushed the residents out. But in the past couple, 100 years or so, there's been a lot of changes that have gone through that have made it easier for non-humans to make their way into the city, mind you, at a pretty severe disadvantage most of the time. The past dynasty, like the past emperor, was pretty lax and honestly didn't really care too much about their job. They kind of just coasted on the fact that they were king. They could relax, do whatever they wanted, which definitely led to a number of gangs and crime to kind of take root, which sometimes was bad, sometimes was not as bad. They definitely gave some opportunity for people throughout the city there. But after the last king died without an heir to take over the throne for him, the title was passed to his spy master, basically his right hand. And in the past few months, since the spy master has taken over the regency, he's already started to kind of implement new laws. Everything's going to be a little bit more strict, a little bit more under control. One of the things that he's trying to do is to really get his constituents, his people, on his side so that there isn't too much pushback to what he wants to do. And the way that he plans to do that is creating an adventuring guild. And basically, what this guild is, the main goal for this guild is to send them out into the realm, basically under his banner, helping people, killing monsters, building churches, whatever heroes do, to bring glory to his name. He's been trying to recruit a number of people, but it seems that every time that he recruits a group, they all meet in his courtyard and they're never heard from again. They're not heard out, from throughout the realm or even throughout the city. They're just kind of disappeared. So that is the setup for Galterra, is that each of these characters has got an invitation. They've basically been drafted to join this guild and go out throughout the realm and do things. And yeah, we'll see how that unfolds.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of creepy to have adventuring parties meet up in the courtyard and then just are never seen or heard of again. That's going to be some intrigue. I kind of hope that we can maybe find breadcrumbs along the way of past adventures. I don't know what your plans are, but that sounds very very interesting to me.
Yeah. No, there's definitely plans for that. As much as I can plan, I do have about the first 3 sessions of both groups pretty planned out at the moment. Kind of regardless of which way you guys go, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you guys are on any kind of railroad or track or anything there. I basically just kind of have planned enough that whatever options you pick are going to have consequences and stuff like that. But to be frank, it's gonna be pretty hard to fuck up.
Well, that's
gonna,
good.
yeah, it's going to be intriguing. It's going to be different than games that I have set up before and stuff like that. But
I guess
yeah.
without any further ado, we should also put the intro and theme, and then we'll talk a little bit about the music and why we have two themes and the differences and the similarities between the two. So I guess here is Grinning Griffin presents Galterra.
You're starting in the capital city of Galterra. Hey, Karen.
Hey, Jacob. Imogene.
Justin.
Corbin Laster.
Josh.
Tubas.
Brett.
Fulgoon.
And Crystal.
Bliss.
All right, and we're back. So that was the intro and theme music for Galterra. If, as you can probably tell, it is pretty much similar, but I guess more flushed out, more. I don't want to say bombastic. It's more like it's fuller,
more sophisticated, or
yeah,
or not more sophisticated. But yeah, I know what you mean. I think I was like, I like it, but we need it to be more regal. And then you're like, okay, let's add this to it.
yeah.
And I think that's kind of how we came up with that. Really, what I've really liked, not just with the Galterra music, but also with the Irina music as well, is that closing my eyes and putting it on loop makes me feel that I'm playing an actual like video game. Like it very much sounds like RPG background music.
Thank you very much.
which I like. Like it very much goes with the themes and stuff like that I'm trying to play with. With the storytelling and everything there. Probably not on purpose, because I don't think you've played some of these games, but I get, I get a feeling of like walking into a big city in an Elder Scrolls game, or The Witcher, or games like that. You know what I mean? Like these big lush worlds.
Yeah.
And that's really how it kind of sounds like to me. And even you can even go like if it was chip tuned, I could definitely see it being like Golden Axe, which I think was the first fantasy game I ever played.
Okay. Yeah, I was able to at least use a website and like bought DRM free music. I think it's DRM called. I think that's what it's called. Free like loops and notes and stuff like that, and basically just like hodgepodge something together. And I'm glad that you like it.
No, it's pretty great.
I guess I should credit them too. Credit to Ghost Hack. Because I know that I read README and they're licensing, and they fully license all of this for like podcasts, and even some of the things that I used was for like cinematic trailers and that sort of thing. So like they produce music samples for anyone to really use and create their own music with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of something that I've really liked about doing the podcast, and hopefully at some point having it set up so that people can live stream it when we play. Is it's really teaching me a lot of stuff that I wouldn't know. like how to use these new tools and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like before this, I've never made any music. I had plans to make music, but I never actually made music until this kind of lit a fire under me. I know that you are our editor. You'll be you're learning editing, and basically the first little while is going to be a little rough, but
Yeah,
hopefully
it's
once we get some actual experience, we'll have better produce better quality material, or not material, sorry, better quality sound.
yeah, better edits because for the first little bit, my plan is very much to keep the editing to a minimal, because I'm still very new to it, and
Yeah.
um, part of me wanted, to try to mask it and cover it up and say like, it's raw, it's unfiltered, uncut, uncensored. Um, when really it's I can't be bothered.
Maybe not I can't be bothered. It's more you don't have, like, both of us work. We don't really have the time to do this and have a any sort of consistent schedule.
Yeah, it's is at the moment I have, just to kind of give people a scope of how much editing needs to be done. Uh, each negative one shot ranges from just under an hour to around an hour and a half. So there's,
Times that by 9.
yeah, times that by 9.
And that's before we even started any session, like full
Yeah,
sessions.
yeah. And the first session I did, the session 0 for Irden, that was a little over an hour, not including the intro. Um, we got to go back. We got to put the intro music, the outro music. We got to do an intro, kind of explaining things at the beginning of at least a couple of them. The shameless plugs at the end that everybody skips over.
Yeah.
We got to do all that stuff. But yeah, I'm going to try to pump them out as fast as possible. But there's about 10 to 12 hours of work that basically we just have to kind of like, even if we're just editing as we're doing it, that's like 12 hours of base product.
Yeah. We have to start editing 12 hours right now. After this, included, well, yeah. In addition, this will be another however long this is. I don't have a time.
So.
I don't have a timer on here. I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah, it'll. I imagine it's going to be around an hour to an hour and a half,
something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. But anyway, speaking of shameless plugs, do you want to plug anything? I've already plugged Ghost Hack, so
yeah. So yeah, like as people would kind of expect, we are on Facebook under Grinning Griffin. We have an anchor under Grinning Griffin that will allow us to hopefully, put our stuff up on Spotify, iTunes, et cetera, vis-a-vis. Very importantly, we are setting up a Patreon. We're gonna have a lot of supplemental stuff that we're doing kind of in conjunction with the campaign here. You'll be able to get a lot of behind the scenes stuff, like going forward, a lot of stuff like this, like after shows, AMAs, and stuff like this. We'll probably put on Patreon first. Just make people feel special.
yeah.
We'll be able to, good.
Oh, I know that one thing that you and I were talking about was lore videos, lore, going through the lore. So you've got a lot of the mythology written out, and I am, I guess, going to turn the written out lore into something bite-sized that people can listen to on the Patreon. That'll be
Yeah,
one of the
like an abridged version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my plans so far with that is I'm going to try to put out a myth, which will be depending. It's going to be around 4 to 8 pages each month, um, explaining different aspects of the world, the gods, how they work, what they did. After that, I'll move on to legends, and I've got enough stuff there to keep us going for a while.
Yeah.
But we're also going to have, if lore isn't your thing, if behind the scenes stuff isn't your thing, we're also going to have like monster stat blocks. We're going to have, uh, races, classes,
subclasses.
subclasses. Yeah. Um, we're working on systems and stuff like that. Gonna try to put out a newsletter. Eventually, if we can get some traction, we're hoping to kind of branch out into some other games as well. Whether that means doing a couple of one shots on a couple of games, or starting up, full streams if people are interested in it. That's definitely something that we're looking at. But we're gonna need help to do all this, because as Justin has kind of pointed out, we will have full-time jobs. So
Everyone, yeah, all of us have jobs. All of us have lives that are separate from D&D.
yeah, but that being said, yeah, pretty much anything on Patreon is going to be going right back into Grinning Griffin for a long while, because we've got a lot of really cool stuff planned. Little peek behind the curtain, if I can.
It's your show.
Yeah, thanks. We have some stuff that we're hopefully going to be able to put up on the DMs Guild. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it there because stuff can change. But yeah, hopefully some bite-sized stuff that we can put on DM's Guild that eventually is going to be something larger. We're looking to play some other systems and some other games. I won't name drop any here, but if you're a fan and you listen to us at any point and you're like, hey, I think I want these. I think these guys would have a fun time playing, this game. Let us know.
Yeah.
We're always looking to have fun. Send us a Facebook message. Say, hey, there's this game that I think you guys would have fun recording, and we'll probably play it a couple times, and then at least record one time of it.
We'll try to figure out how we're supposed to play it, and then we'll play it.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a lot that we have planned to do. This is very much a passion project, pretty much for most of the people involved.
Yeah.
Like for me and you, as like kind of business partners here, doing the work that we've done.
I guess we're business partners.
Yeah, pretty much.
I never really think of it like that. Like we've been friends for so long, and this is just sort of something that we wanted to do, and because of the world the way it is, and between 2020 2021 and likely beyond, just something that we can do that I guess to play with our friends, to be able to have fun, and to hopefully help other people out have something else to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope, because like first and foremost, we're not professionals. We're not voice actors. We don't have a cool setup. I mean, it would be awesome if we did, but we don't. We definitely, at least for the first bit, you know, because of COVID, are going to be playing over Zoom and recording, and hopefully once I can figure it out, streaming it out on possibly Discord and or Switch, no Switch, Twitch.
Which
Yeah, I got mixed up there.
I didn't realize you got the Nintendo deal.
Yeah. But yeah, when it comes down to it, we're very much going to learn as we go, and hopefully that kind of brings some charm to it. I guess is the way I would put it is, we're going to work hard. We really want to share the stories that we come up with at the table, whether that be emotional, gut wrenching twists, or
all the players saying "fuck you, Jacob" over and over again.
yeah, or wholesome stuff. I'm not that bad. I'm wholesome at times, or just the out of context jokes
Oh,
that come from our table.
yep.
Those are probably some of my favorite parts about gaming, or like tabletop gaming in general. It's just the silly, stupid, hilarious things that we can say out of context.
Yeah, at
It
least
makes
hilarious to us.
Yeah, out of context, it makes no sense, but we'll look back on it and not be able to stop laughing. Like, I forgot my armor; it's in my clutch.
All right. Yeah. I forgot my armor in my purse, I think it was. Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Anyway, I guess this would be a good time to sign out. If you enjoy our content, or if, I guess this is the first episode, if you keep listening and you enjoy our content, please consider donating to Patreon if you have the funds for it. Just so that we can help. It'll help us out in the long run with all of our expenses for doing this. And hopefully you stick around. Hopefully we provide something that you love, that you laugh to, cry to, I guess. Although I'm hoping that we don't make people cry.
Oh, I hope we make people cry.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll bring some tissues in here just in case for our campaign. Anyway, that'll be it for us. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.